Hiya, and welcome back to Tennis Ace. The game that teaches us that I will have a mental breakdown every 5 minutes I spend at the Kobayashi residence.
For real?
My throat hurts.
Already?
Well, I mean, I was screaming like not even 30 seconds ago.
For real, for real.
Anyways, let's just hop right in. We're finally done with our tests for the day. June is trudging along beside me with a sour expression and sagging shoulders. I said it once! I'll say it again! Why the fuck does a cop want crime to happen? Their entire job is making sure crime doesn't happen!
No, their entire job is to fight crime. They can't do their job.
Actually,
That's Batman's job!
Actually,
Ah!
getting technical, the police's job is to enforce the law. Not protect it, not fight it, enforce it.
Oh, I'll be right back. And I'm back. So, that was the RA. So that was the RA telling me to not scream, essentially. Let's just keep going. June is trudging along beside me with a sour expression and sagging shoulders. He hasn't said a word after the test for anything other than complaining about it. I don't want to lose my voice again. I think the only time he went quiet is when we went to the faculty office to ask for a new schedule copy for him. Probably because he didn't want to start bitching in earshot of teachers. How was I supposed to know what year Nobunaga Oda died? I barely even know who he is in the first place. Come on, that was a middle school level test question right there. Shima-sensei only put it there so you could say he was fulfilling the curriculum. Since he barely gave any classes on Japanese history like he was supposed to, he just threw us a few super easy questions that everyone should know instead to say he did his job. I wasn't about to complain about it since I got all of them right, and they were easy points, but Jun didn't seem all too pleased about it. In fact, he had been bitching about every single one of the tests, getting more and more vocal about it as we continued on this topic. I've been trying to go unresponsive and just let him tire himself out, but it seems he doesn't even require my presence here to continue on with his rant. That's easy for you to say. You probably did really well. That's neither here nor there. It's still true, though. We won't know that until we get the results back. He grumbles under his breath, clearly dissatisfied with my answer. I guess as he wants me to engage him so he can keep venting. I don't want to sound like a jerk, but that's really annoying and I don't want to have to deal with that. From the corner of my eye, I catch the figure of a husky walking past the school gates. His steps faster enough than ours that he passes us by without saying a word. It's easy to notice someone that big walking by after all. Hey, Shoichi. I call out to him and he promptly stops on his tracks. Ah, Shoichi-san, I didn't see you there. Jun runs the few steps between us, dodging through the other students and passing by on their way and stopping right next to Shoichi. Shoichi turns around very slowly, the look on his face catching me by surprise and making me freeze. Do you two need me for something? Jun's face goes a few shades wider as he stares up at Shoichi slack-jawed. Whoa! Is everything okay? Yes. Really? Doesn't look like that. You seem to be in a bad mood, Shoichi-san. He looks down between the two of us almost as if he were studying us. His eyes stop on Jun for just a moment. Oh my god! Oh my god! Shoichi is jelly! Shoichi is so jelly! I could swear he frowned a little too. But just as quickly as the frown came, Shoichi's whole face relaxes and he lets out a loud sigh. I was ready to chalk it up to my imagination, but Jun's whole body shivers lightly right next to me and he looks really put off. I'm just tired. Today hasn't exactly been relaxing. Oh, I see. Did you have a hard time with the test too? Among other things. I just have a lot on my plate right now. Do you need any help? We were heading home so I could tutor June, but if we can help... Sorry, not this time, Yuichi. Right now I just need to get home and lie down for a few hours. Are you sure? We could go out and maybe try to have some fun. We could invite Mizuguchi-san and Keisuke-san too. Sorry, I'll pass. Besides, I should really get home and study. I can't afford to let my grades fall, and I'm pretty sure Saya and Urushihara will be doing the same. Good luck with your studies, you two. And Yuichi, take care of Jun-kun, alright? Huh? Sure. The two of us stare shocked as Shoichi walks away without another word. Did something happen? He seemed fine the last time we talked. Was it something I said? Jun visibly deflates next to me, all the excitement he had mustered when we saw Shoichi quickly left like a deflating air balloon. What just happened? Come on, you're not going to get down too, are you? I wonder. Wonder what? Huh? Oh, nothing. It's nothing. We should probably get going. Come on, are you hiding something from me now? Not hiding, just not sure what to think. I examine his face long and hard, trying to decide whether I believe him or not. Jun is such a crappy liar that it's really easy to see when he's hiding something, but at the same time, he's so stubborn about his secrets that trying to pry it out might just land me in trouble. Alright, I'm gonna let this go for now because I want to get home and help you study. Thank you. Oh no, don't you thank me yet. I'm still going to give you a drill sergeant level of tutoring, so you better be prepared. Roger that! Maybe tormenting him a little bit might help me deal with my frustration. Sometime later, it doesn't take us long to get home. Jun insisted we stop by his place so he could get changed, saying he didn't want to be in his uniform all afternoon. Not that I blame him for that. I just waited outside his place until he got changed, and then we headed to my house. One of the first things I do when I get here is turn on the fan. The weather was pretty okay earlier in the morning, but as the afternoon sun rolled around, it started getting more and more overbearing. Ah, cool air feels so nice. It certainly does. Jun leans with his face towards the fan, and I watch for a little bit as his fur blows along with the wind. I find myself smiling for some reason at the sight, somehow feeling relaxed just looking at it. Do you want to get changed too, Yuichi-san? I can wait outside. If you're going to ask me that as soon as you walked into the room, then why did you even walk in the first place? I didn't really think about it. You're fine. I don't mind staying in my uniform. Besides, it helps me focus. Focus? Yeah, if I get changed, then I'm just going to want to sit down and laze around, and that just sounds like a terrible idea. So I'll keep my uniform on while I need to be productive. Oh, I guess I understand. Not that it is a very complicated concept, but... So, where do you want to start? Jun starts fiddling with his bag, opening it up and checking his notebooks inside, probably trying to think of how to tackle the situation. What tests do we have tomorrow? Can't you just look at your schedule? We just got you a new one not an hour ago. Oh, right! He fishes the folded sheet of paper from inside his backpack and starts looking it up. I'll admit that I could just tell him the answer, but he really should get into the habit of looking things up on his own. Not least of all because I don't want to end up turning into his personal search engine. Let's see, we have... Right. Physics and chemistry. Exactly. I know you said you weren't doing too well on physics, but what about chemistry? I'm doing better than in physics. That doesn't exactly fill me with confidence. Sorry, my studies are a mess. Well, not much you can do about it. Honestly, I feel a bit bad. I promised a while ago that I'd help start tutoring you, but I've barely done anything to help. What? No, it's my fault. I was all too happy to let you forget because I really didn't want to do it. Besides, I barely even study when I have the time. I just start playing video games or something. Heh, guess he really is a kindred spirit. Although I suppose I at least do the bare minimum. Alright, no good will come out of lamenting, so we better get started. Since you're doing worst in physics, let's start from there. Once we go through the whole material at least once, we can check chemistry out. Okay. Yeah, I don't plan on having one. A few hours later, I absentmindedly stare out the window, watching the sky darken with each passing minute. The typical quiet that comes with nighttime ringing a near-deafening silence in my ears. The irregular sounds of Jun scribbling on the paper is the only thing breaking the monotony. Every now and again he'd ask me questions, but for the most part we went over stuff a couple of times. He started getting the hang of things. Now he's just doing some exercises to work things out on his own and make sure the lessons are sticking properly to his mind. He's not stupid like he sometimes says he is. He's just unbelievably lazy. Getting through to him is a chore, but a decent amount of reminders of what's on the line managed to get him sufficiently motivated. And also pretty anxious. Fingers crossed and hope things work out for the best. I feel something poking my shoulder and look to my side. I see Jun's face sitting alarmingly close to mine, making me flinch for a brief second. Luckily, he doesn't notice that. The tiger is holding out a piece of paper and sighing, his left brow twitching a few times. I think I'm done. Man, it almost feels like someone sucked his soul out of him. He's so listless. Really? All of them? Damn, that was faster than I thought. Yuichi-san, that was cruel. You gave me more exercises to work out than we had on our tests. Now, I only think that because the social studies tests are shorter. Those are about the same size you'll get tomorrow. And that's even more cruel. What if I'm too fatigued? What if I'm too fatigued tomorrow to focus on the tests? Just make sure you get a proper night's sleep and you'll be fine. Yeah, sure. He slumps forward, resting his chin and part of his chest on the table. His eyes flit toward me every now and again while I go over his work, checking them against the answer keys and grading his paper. I see. He might have been complaining about it, but he did a decent job. I mean, for only a single day's worth of studying. We're not gonna get any miracles out of him, but against the other tests I made him take when he first started, this is a marked improvement. Well, yeah, you did better. By how much? You got 74% correct. No way! Only 74? That's not enough to pass! I mean, sure, but that's still nearly 30 points more than before. It's something you can actually make up for in the next tests. Yeah, Star is still here.
I live here now.
Yeah, Star basically lives here now. I know that, but I can't just be making up for my grades. I need to do my best if I want to go where I want to go. The big cat sighs and whines, his chin still smushed up against my table. The fur around his neck is somewhat bristled, and even his tail is lashing behind him. Not only that, with the way his brow is furrowed, it's making a somewhat comical fold right on the center of his forehead. Yuichi-san, is something the matter? What? You're staring really hard at my face. Is something wrong? I am? Yeah. You didn't notice? Sorry, I was lost in thought. I didn't even notice I was staring. And you say I'm bad with that sort of thing. Jun sighs, grabbing his paper and going over it once again. He taps the tip of his pen idly against the desk at a regular interval. Almost as if he were marking a rhythm. Considering it. Can we go again? You sure? It's already kind of late and we've been at this for a while. I don't want you burning yourself out. Oh, would it be too much of a bother for you? No, that's not what I meant. I just don't want you to push yourself too much. It might have the opposite effect if you're too tired to focus on the test tomorrow. Isn't that what I just said now? Well, on second thought, it had a lot of merit. Can we keep going anyway, please? I feel like if I review where I went wrong one last time, I might be able to get it right. Alright, just remember that if you want to do well in the midterms, you're going to have to keep doing this every day for the rest of the week. Just because you can handle it today doesn't mean you can last a week. I can handle it! Sure you can. Alright. See this question right here? You were doing it right at first, but... Jun leans up against me, listening very attentively to my explanations. I wish he could apply himself like this more often. I don't think he'd turn into a model student, but at least he'd be getting passing grades. Oh! So I have to do it like this? I have to explain things more than once, but he does eventually catch on and fixes his mistakes. Before I even notice it, Jun has scuttled so close to me with his chair that he's nearly leaning his body against the left side of mine while going over my explanations. Only a small distance separates us right now. This is probably the closest we've ever been. And yet I don't really mind it. It's a pleasant, calm feeling. It's nothing grand or exciting, but it still leaves me feeling peaceful. I don't really know how to explain it very well. Slowly I lift my left arm until my hand is just a hair's width away from his head. I want so badly to reach out and do something, but I don't know what. I'm afraid of trying to do something and messing things up. Those complicated thoughts I had the past few days just come rushing back in with full force. I'm okay with being friends, I'm okay with being close, but just thinking of making a jump to a romantic relationship scares me. Makes me anxious, it makes it hard to breathe. Just to think of how badly I could screw things up and how he could come out hurt. I don't want that. The fear is so bad it's paralyzing. But I still want to reach out to him. I want to close this gap between us, even just a little bit. Even if it's not much, I want to feel like I'm walking forward. I asked for time to think things over, and I've been obsessing about it since yesterday. But if I want anything to happen, if I want to come to any kind of decision, then shouldn't I take the first step towards it? Even if it's scary? I hesitantly begin to pet him, going very slowly and trying not to make a big deal out of it. Jun doesn't make any noises or sudden movements. In fact, I at first think he doesn't even realize it. But then, almost as if it were nothing, the few centimeters that separated us are quickly closed and the tiger leans his head to rest on my shoulder. Calmly and naturally, he continues to listen to my now shaky voice. Calmly and naturally, his tail swishes behind him, getting a little bit closer each time, until it's wrapped tightly around my waist and the tip is resting right on top of my right thigh. I'll give it to him, he's surprisingly smooth. I catch my voice faltering and I get the urge to look away. But I know if I make a big deal out of this, it'll probably affect him too. For good or bad, he's a pretty empathetic person, and if I let the atmosphere get awkward, he's going to feel it even more than I will. So does it all make sense so far? I somehow managed to get through all the questions he got wrong with only minimal stuttering. Yeah, it does. At least I think it does. Can you make another exam sheet for me? Sure, just give me a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to go over these again while you do that. He pulls away from me, leaning forward onto the desk while he goes back to work, redoing the questions he got wrong. I take a deep breath right afterwards, sighing. I'm conflicted. I feel both relieved and disappointed right now. Why can't I just understand what I want? Just keep in mind, this is the last one. After you're done with it, we should really wrap up for the day. It's already nearly 9 p.m. and you need to sleep. Okay, no problem. June 9th, Friday, day 23. The school bell finally rings, marking the end of the last day of midterms. Reactions are mixed inside the classroom, with many students groaning or cursing as they fail to finish their tests. Others are jubilant to finally be done with this hellish week. After all, the last thing a student body wants to deal with is a full week of tests right after a full week of having fun with the festival. If I could meet whoever it was that made up the scheduling, I'd have some very strong choice words for them too. After having graduated so they couldn't take it out on my grades, of course. Very well, students. Everyone pass their papers along. Don't even try to keep writing. If so much as touch the paper with your pen after the bell rings, I will give you a 0. Shima-sensei goes around collecting everyone's papers. While everyone else has scowls or frowns or just looks plain defeated, the stag alone is the picture of health and peace. Probably because it wasn't he that just spent a whole week studying non-stop and stressing over tests. Do I sound bitter? I feel bitter. Yes, the word kiss is allowed. Yes, Automod, the word kiss is allowed. Now, I want you all to remember, just because your tests are over doesn't mean you can slack off. You still have the entire school year ahead of you, even if there's a few months before midterms start again. I doubt anyone is even listening at this point. Most of everyone is just nodding along to everything he says with the most soulless eyes possible. I sincerely hope you've all done well on your tests. The results will be posted next Friday and club activities can resume again next week. You're all excused for today. Yeah. He walks out of the room carrying all of our exams with them. As soon as he leaves, the class lets out a collective sigh of relief. Finally over! June is slumped over his desk, exhausted. The poor guy's barely had any breaks since the week started. He'd come over to my place right after the exams were over, and we'd study nonstop until 10 or 11 p.m., depending on the day. That only just leaves him time to get home, eat, and sleep. That's going to be a miserable existence for anyone, especially if they're not used to this sort of thing. You hanging in there all right? If I die, tell my mother I love her. If you can crack jokes, then I guess that means you're fine. I want to do something fun. I'm fun-starved. I need to relax. Huh, and here I thought you'd just go straight home and flop onto your bed, not waking up until tomorrow. No way! I need to relax. Yes, I heard you the first time. You don't need to emphasize it. Do you have any plans for the day, Yuichi-san? Nope, not a one. How about we go do something together? We can invite the other two. I'm sure they'd welcome a break as well. Yeah, I'm still a bit worried about Shoichi. He hasn't talked to me at all since Monday, and he looked pretty stressed out then. Oh, right. I forgot about that. But hey, tests are over now. I'm sure he'll have more time to hang out. Yeah, you're probably right. I'll send them all a message. Oh, did you buy a new phone already? Yeah, I couldn't go too long without one. My mom chewed me out for breaking mine, though. Forced me to get one worse than my previous one as a lesson. Oh. That's alright. I don't even use my phone much, so it's not like it makes that much of a difference for me. Also there, message sent. How about we go out to eat? I'm hungry. Have you been eating after getting home? Sometimes. Define sometimes. I had dinner on Monday. The other days I was too sleepy, so I just went to bed. You've been going without dinner for a week? Don't just laugh at that. I'm serious, June. You need to take care of yourself. I'll be fine. I'm just a little tired is all. I just need a break. I sigh, quickly typing an invite to shoot the others while I try my best to look annoyed so I can drive my point home. Come on, Yuichi-san, don't be mad at me. Then eat properly. Preferably now. I'll treat you. What? You don't have to treat me. I'm fine paying for myself. No, I'll treat you and that's that. Especially because I feel a little guilty over this. I've been cooking dinner for me and Aki after June had already left for home. I probably should have just taken a dinner break and offered to let him eat with us. But I thought for sure he'd be eating food he had at home when he got there, so I didn't even think of that. And I've already messaged everyone. Come on, I asked them to meet us by the gates. Okay. A few minutes later. Now that exam week is over, the amount of students lingering around after the end of school day is much bigger. Now that they have the room to breathe and catch up without fearing for their grades, they're taking the opportunity to be social again. Just like we are. Or would be, except... Damn, I just got an answer from Keisuke. He says he's going to be busy with band practice. Sai and Shoichi both just said they couldn't come and didn't speak another word about it. Aww, I was looking forward to getting everyone together. This sort of thing happens. People get busy sometimes. It's no big deal. I guess. I wonder what we should do now. I guess it'll just be the two of us together today again. Because of the exams, we've been spending quite a bit of time alone together lately. It doesn't bother me, but a little voice on the back of my head keeps telling me to panic whenever the two of us are alone in a room. And June hasn't been shy about touching me or leaning against me either. I mean, I guess I did start it when he does it too. I feel self-conscious. Although I'm pretty sure I like the attention. What do you think we should do? Should we just go out to eat and call it a day? I suppose. Besides, we didn't have any plans either, and it's hard to think of stuff to do at the last moment. Yeah, I guess that's true. Just then I spot a few familiar faces leaving the school building altogether. Most of our classmates show up, all of them walking side by side and chatting with each other. And, wait, is that Sora-kun with them? What's he doing there? Oh, hey there. I see you guys survived Hell Week. Oh? Yep, I'm surprised you of all people did. What's that supposed to mean? Exactly what I said. Anyway, what's up? We're all going out together to celebrate being done with midterms. Wait, but Sora-kun, what are you doing with my classmates? The panda rubs the back of his neck, laughing nervously. It just kinda worked out this way, I guess. We started chatting every now and then, and after we met when we, went to see you in the hospital. Sora nods, smiling. Yeah, so he invited me to go out with everyone. I don't really know many people in my own class, so I thought it'd be nice to go out. Oh, I see. Thank you for that. The fox smiles and nods, sticking his chest out with pride. I'm surprised you can even talk to them. When I first met you, you were a stuttering mess. The panda's eyes go wide for a second, and he blinks rapidly a few times as his brain tries to process. That's not... Do you guys want to join us too? Gin quickly cuts into the conversation, a forced smile on his face. Well, we were talking about going out together too, but the rest of our group was too busy, so we weren't sure what we would do together. That's perfect then. We were just going downtown. Jin wanted to try to go karting, and we were all going to stop for food on the way. Karting? At the simple mention of karting, June's eyes immediately light up, and I know then and there that we have to go along with them. Okay, that sounds like a plan that we can get behind on, right, June? Yeah! He nods excitedly, laughing. Somehow he already seems much livelier than before. Although with June, that isn't exactly a challenge either. Although I have to ask, how did you guys get him of all people to tag along? I gesture to Kumagawa with my head, and everyone follows my gaze right back to him. The bear, however, doesn't take his eyes from his console for even a single second and doesn't notice our stares. Honestly, I'm just as shocked as you are. Jin shrugs, deciding that the thought doesn't really merit any thinking about. Fit-kun invited him and he came along. Yeah, I was actually a little surprised too, but he said yes anyway. Hey, Ryoji-san. At the mention of his name, the bear finally looks up and notices us staring at him. He raises an eyebrow and looks confused for a second. Yes. I don't mean to offend, but what are you doing here? You're one of the last people I'd imagine tagging along. They said they were going downtown, and I thought it'd be a good chance to swing by my favorite store to pick up a new game that just came out. I guess that's a reason to tag along. I knew a big video game nerd like you wouldn't go out into the wild of his own volition, especially given the risk of my burst into flame on contact with the sun. There are some snickers within the group as the bear goes back to playing his game, although I suppose karting might be fun too. Wait! You're interested in doing something fun? In real life? Hey, Yuichi-san, I think you're making too big a deal out of this. Don't give me that look, you were just as shocked as I was. I didn't know you had an interest in karting, Ryoji-kun. The bear shrugs. It'll be like a real-life version of a video game. Oh, I see now. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm sorry, but if we start firing cannonballs and missiles at each other while karting, that'll be my cue for retiring from the race. I think that could be fun. Surely you're kidding. I wonder if banana peels would actually be able to make a cart slip. How we buy some before we go and give it a try? We're going to get kicked out of the venue, aren't we? Littering aside, bananas can be a pretty good snack before these kinds of activities. They won't weigh on your stomach and they'll fill you with energy. They're pretty healthy. Healthy, huh? Didn't know you had an interest in that sort of thing. Gin stutters, looking at me with pursed lips and a frown. He almost seems confused. Eventually stammers out an actual response, sighing. We should probably get going. Sometime later, we all head out to a small coffee shop downtown for a quick eat. The staff has to merge 2 tables together to accommodate our little menagerie. Because of the day and time we got here, we had to wait a while before they finally got tables for us, but the whole process was overall pretty painless. Hey, there's only one thing I've always wondered. What's the difference between a coffee shop and a cafe? How much do you want to charge you? I doubt it can just be that. Maybe how fancy the environment is? I mean, this place is nice and all, but it's not like the cafe I went with you before, Yuichi-san. It's probably the same as the difference between a diner and a restaurant. I'm pretty sure there are differences other than the price tag and how fancy the place is. Oh yeah? Name one. I don't know, I'm not an expert on the subject. All I know is I've been to some really fancy diners and some really run-down restaurants, so I don't think that applies. That's a good point. Maybe we could ask a waiter what the difference is? Sure, just call him over and ask, hey, why isn't your establishment called a cafe? Are you guys not fancy enough? I'm sure that goes swimmingly. I didn't say you had to phrase it like that. Sora-kun, he's just messing with you. What are you guys going to order anyway? I wouldn't recommend getting anything too heavy. Wouldn't want to get sick on the carts. But if you do, that could serve as a stand-in for a banana peel. Ew, gross. What do they have on the menu anyway? Probably just some basic coffee shop stuff. Some sandwiches, a few baked goods, and some drinks. Depending on how many varieties of those things they had, the menu could still end up being pretty big, though. That's true. You could just look at the huge menu they have behind the counter instead of asking yourselves that. Oh, I didn't even notice that! Evidently. Behind the counter is a huge blackboard with a bunch of different options and prices written down in fading white chalk. I guess the chalk was so faded that we couldn't make out it was an actual writing until we were seated. Wow, they're really old school. They still have chalkboard menus. I think the word you're looking for is outdated. They could just go with the simple laminated menu instead. It's much simpler and probably allergy-free. Can you even be allergic to chalk? Wouldn't surprise me. Some people are allergic to dust. Or pollen. I know a guy who was allergic to his own fur. Ouch! That's gotta be terrible! What a miserable little life that guy must live. Some people are allergic to water, too. That must suck a lot, too. Sure, but imagine being allergic to yourself. How about being allergic to dirt and water at the same time? Then you have reactions whenever you're dirty but can't shower because you're allergic to the water. I don't even want to imagine that. I'd probably go insane. I like taking baths way too much to begin with. I'd be very sad if I couldn't. These people must need really strong coping mechanisms and support groups to get through life like that. There is a silent agreement on our table as everyone nods along. Is everyone here even allergic to something? Nichan and I are both lactose intolerant, but I don't know if that counts as an allergy. Lactose allergy is basically the more gung-ho version of lactose intolerance. I'm lactose intolerant too. Lactose intolerant is actually a pretty prevalent thing in most of Asia. It's pretty easy to find people who suffer from it. In that sense, I guess I kind of lucked out. European genes here, huh? Everyone in my family is pretty healthy. We don't have any allergies, I think. I'm allergic to some types of medication. Heparin, benazepril, aspirin. There are some others I don't remember off the top of my head. I have no idea what half that stuff is. How do you even know that stuff? Like, don't you have to be given medicine to find out you're allergic to it? Sorta. The doctors test you for stuff, too. Yeah, I saw racist Mario. I stared at him with a raised eyebrow, feeling very suspicious all of a sudden. The tiger immediately shrinks on his seat, looking away from me and at the menu on the wall. Hey, did you guys decide on what you're going to order? I think I'm going to get a tuna sandwich and some juice. Blech. I can't stand most seafood. Dude, then you came to the wrong country. Nah, other meats are also really easy to find in Japan. Only because it gets imported from outside. That's true. Japan doesn't have much land to raise livestock. I think I'll order a bagel. Are those pizza squares? Those are a thing in Japan? I think they're a thing in most of the world. Just like that, the conversation switches back to food once more. However, Jun continues to avoid my gaze, and I don't feel comfortable asking him questions like that in public, especially when he looks so desperate to avoid the subject. After we're finished with lunch, we all head right to the karting venue Jin mentioned. The place is surprisingly big. There are multiple tracks inside, and apparently people can race in groups of 8. Which means since there are 7 of us, at least one racer in our track would be some random person. The place looks pretty busy. Probably since it's Friday and classes are done for the day in most schools. Wow! I've never been to a place like this before! It's so huge! Actually, surprisingly, neither have I. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I come here every now and then when I just want to have fun. Feels good to crash crush the newbies. What he means by that is he spends most of his allowance here. Hey. Smaller Mouse glares at his older brother, who seems as calm and serene as he always does. He also likes to go to the baseball batting cages down the street. Oh, that'd be a good idea too. We should go there after we're done here. I've never been to one of those. What are they like? You get a baseball bat and a helmet, get inside a cage, and a robot shoots balls at you that you can bat. June's eyes immediately shine, and I can already tell we're going to have to go there as well. A robot? That's so cool. I want to see the robot. What? No, I don't mean a robot. Just you know what? Forget it. We'll go after we're done with the carts if no one else has any objections. None here. Yeah, I'm fine. I wonder if they'll have some place around here where you can play ice hockey. I've never seen any. Wouldn't you need a team to play that anyway? You need a team to play baseball, and yet you have batting cages anyway. Oh, right. I guess that's true. Anyway, are we going to join the line, or are we just going to stand around here gawking at the place? The line doesn't look too big. I don't think it'll take too long. Luckily, the line is moving somewhat fast, just like June mentioned. Apparently, each person pays for a number of laps here. Once each racer finishes running 5 laps, they have to drive to the exit, and a set of new racers enters after everyone has finished theirs. Which means the one who wins the race is also the one that gets to drive the least amount of time. I didn't even look at the prices. How much is it anyway? I can treat you if you want. No, I'm fine with paying for myself. You already treated me to food, Yuichi-san. I don't want to mooch. It's not mooching if I enjoy doing it. You and I have very different definitions of the word. It's 500 yen for 5 laps. That's not too bad. It's pretty okay, actually. Does it even cover the cost of running the place? The bear shrugs, either not knowing the answer to my question or not being bothered enough to give it. How about we go multiple times, like, say, 15 laps? Wow, someone's greedy. I can't help it. It just looks like so much fun. Just make sure you don't bleed your wallet dry in the process. It's only 500 yen. I'll be fine. Yes, it's only 500 yen. If done once. Keep doing it over and over again, it'll stack up. Still, I quietly sigh and just decide to let that go for now. No sense trying to, well, talk sense into him. How fast can these go anyway? I don't know. You'll have to ask the clerk when it's our turn. Though it probably doesn't go very fast given that kids are allowed to drive these. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, they're not very fast. They even look faster than they feel, which is a real bummer. I'm glad they're not that fast. You already lose control half the time as is. Didn't have to tell them that. It's not like people wouldn't figure it out once you started crashing into us. I don't crash. Really? And what do you call it? Bulldozing? Your attempt to make it sound less lame only makes you sound even lamer. Screw you! I'm not lame, you're not gonna tear me down! No need, you already do that to yourself way better than I could ever hope to. I hear a few whistles. To my response as the younger mouse stares at me with a murderous temper tantrum. Yuichi-san, you don't have to be so mean. How am I mean? I'm convinced you don't notice half the stuff that comes out of your mouth. What? I'm not mean, am I? Maybe not mean, maybe abrasive would be a better term. Abrasive? Wow, I'm surprised you know that word. There it is. That's what I'm talking about. Huh? You do this all the time. You say things without even thinking about how insulting they are. I do? Some days more than others. I think you've insulted every single one of us at least once today. Some more than others. Jin frowns, shooting me daggers with his eyes and crossing his arms. I didn't... It's easy to forgive because we know you don't mean it, and sometimes while you're just trying to make a joke, but it can get annoying every once in a while. That's putting it mildly. I mean, I don't personally mind it all that much. I think it's normal for good friends to insult each other. Not everyone is the same way, though. Some people don't like that sort of thing. People especially don't want someone following them around, basically acting like a mirror to constantly point out and remind them of their flaws. But I didn't... June places his hand on my shoulder and gives me a gentle squeeze, smiling mournfully at me. Just dial it down on it for a bit, okay? Most of the time you're okay, but it's like you've dialed it up to 11 today. Does everyone think the same? The only one who didn't speak up about it is Ryoji, but then again, convinced he's not even listening to our conversation. Watch. Jin taps on the brown bear's shoulder a few times and calls out his name. Yo, Ryoji. The bear sluggishly looks up, his eyes quickly scanning around him and looking at each of us. What? What's your take on it? My take on what? The younger mouse makes a gesture with his hand, pointing at the bear with a smug smile on his face. See? Kumagawa frowns, staring at Jin with confusion. Never mind, you can go back to playing your game. We'll let you know when it's our turn. What are you even playing? Must be really good for you to be this distracted. Dragon Rush Saga 24. The panda frowns. The what? I've never heard about it. It's an obscure gaming series from a mobile game development company. It's pretty terrible. Then, why are you playing it? The romanceable girls are cute. Sora stares at the older bear with a look that I can't quite identify. It might be disgust or he might just be constipated. Who knows? It's probably disgust, though. I think he's played more bad games than I've played games in general. It's pretty easy to do when you have no life other than playing games. I immediately get a bunch of blank stares pointed right at me and the awkwardness comes flooding in really quickly. I'll shut up. A few minutes later, once our turn in line finally comes, we're each given a cart and the venue employees help us get strapped in properly to our seats. Half of me is surprised Gin managed to fit inside his cart, but after the awkward conversation we had not 20 minutes ago, I don't dare voice those thoughts. I'll just ignore the little voice inside of my head telling me to crack jokes at the things I see. I ended up being given a purple colored cart with the number 7 stamped on white in the front of it. All things considered, I don't mind the look of it. I'll definitely have preferred the red cart though, but, well, I don't really get to choose. June was given a green cart with the number 4 on it, and made a passing comment about how he wished he'd gotten orange instead. The employees went over basic instruction, taught us how to accelerate, brake, how to do curves, and general knowledge. They were very thorough with their explanations too, because it took almost 5 minutes for them to finish. On top of the starting line is a big LED screen that does the countdown to a takeoff. My eyes were glued on the thing as soon as it beeped the first time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As soon as it rang with the final beep, all engines were revved up to the max and the race started. The whole race is comprised of a small circuit with a few twists and curves mixed in. Nothing too crazy, definitely no video game level tracks where we have to make crazy jumps over ramps and whatnot. Not just be begging for a lawsuit. On the very first curve, the first thing I noticed is Jin accelerating even more when we were clearly told to slow down for the curves. He tries to go for a drift but ends up spinning out of control instead. Sides of the track are surrounded by... What? The sides of the track are surrounded by a bunch of foam blocks chained to...
Now connected to Caden.
Alexa, disconnect.
Now disconnected from Caden.
What on earth? The sides of the track are surrounded by a bunch of foam blocks chained together into a single bendable piece. Once he crashes, the wall sort of deforms around his cart and absorbs the impact. Yo, your phone connected to Alexa.
It did.
Yeah, it did. I already disconnected it.
Oh.
But yeah. And I'm just gonna go ahead and unplug it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Once he crashes, the wall sort of deforms around his cart and absorbs the impact. Probably not a bad idea. Adding some sort of cushioning to the track will keep people from getting hurt. God forbid their walls were made of car tires stacked on top of each other instead. As soon as you hit them, they might all collapse on top of you, and I shudder to think of the damage. Having never gone karting before, I'm being extra careful to avoid a fate like Jin's, so I'm going a bit on the slow side. Meanwhile, Gin is right ahead of me, being another careful, if slightly more experienced driver. Victor and Sora are both speeding ahead and trying to just straight up win without caring about crashing, though they are still noticeably more careful than Jin. Kumagawa and Jun are both at the very back, going super turtly and just, I don't know, enjoying the scenic view. Frankly, I don't see the point of driving if you're going to go that slow. Then there's a random person that's also on the track with us. He's currently right behind me and doesn't seem to be making much of an effort to pass me by. I have to say, the feeling of the wind on my face and having my fur and clothes flutter against it is really nice. I didn't know going this fast could be so much fun. Maybe I should try going a little faster. Do we want to accelerate or go steady? No. Go zoom or no zoom? Everyone's saying go zoom. Time to go zoom! I stepped foot on the gas pedal and decide to ramp up my speed a little. Hey! I briefly hear Gin's voice as my vehicle goes past him and I begin to gain on him. Victor and Sora are both really far ahead by now and I'm not sure I can gain on them before the end of this lap at least. Also, I don't want to do what Jin did and end up crashing because he's now dead last thanks to that. Behind me, I hear the sounds of motors revving up even more and with a quick glance behind, I see that those on the back decided to accelerate in response to my sudden burst of speed. Gin is right on my tail with Kumagawa and Jun right behind him. The 8th driver seems content to just keep pace and lets everyone else pass by him without a care. Oh my god, thank you for the follow! Probably think it's not worth to risk going faster. Then again, he looks younger than us, so maybe he's just scared to go too fast. We reach a curve and everyone slows down to keep from losing control. Jun manages to overtake both Kumagawa and Jin by doing a tight curve and rides right next to him. Me. Yuichi-san, I'm going to beat you! He steadily gains on me, going for the tightest possible curves every time. By the time we finish our third lap, Jun is pressed right against me and I'm at risk of being left behind. While I don't think I can get past the other two currently contending for first place, beating Jun is the difference between a podium finish and fourth place. Even though there isn't really a podium here. He's really close to me, so maybe if I cut him off on one of the curves, I might force him to slow down. Do we want to cut him off or don't? Honestly, I kind of want to let him win. What? Which one? Yeah. Even though the daredevil inside of me wants to do it, it could be dangerous. If Jun didn't react fast enough, he could crash onto me, and that could be pretty ugly. I don't want to risk our safety just for a silly race. We go through the curve, and as I expected, Jun once again makes it as tightly as possible, managing to pass me by. He lifts an arm out of his cart and waves at me. Bye-bye! I fucking love him. Fucking love Jun. He accelerates further and manages to gain a sizable lead over me despite being among the latest racers at the start. By the time we reach the finish line, Jun solidly placed himself in third place, getting really close to passing by Victor for second. We all step out of the course, chatting excitedly amongst ourselves. That was really fun! You're just being smug because you finished in third. What? Of course not! I was having fun even when I was in last place. Besides, what kind of loser feels smug over third place? Pfft, said the loser who finished in last. Hey! So much for your talks about having so much experience. I never said I was sure to win just because of that. No, you just said something about how you love to crush the newbies. Talk about instant karma. Jeez, will you guys lay off me for a second? We only put you down when you get too full of yourself. Were you guys just complaining about Yuichi-san doing that? Ah, freak deer. I'm your brother. I'm allowed. The fuck? The whole group chuckles at the muscular mouse getting all pouty over some silly teasing. I make sure to keep my mouth shut as much as possible since I don't want to risk getting in trouble again. I really don't want to get told over twice in the same day. Should we go again? I'm up for it. It was really fun. Yeah, I want to go again too. I guess I have nothing against either. You could try to sound a bit more excited about it. At least I said something. Why don't you get on Kumagawa's case? He's distracted playing games again. Nah, I'm not close enough to him to do that. Damn, I feel so loved. Jun's tail brushes up against mine for a split second. It was quickly enough that it might look like an accident, but given what I now know and the look on his face, I can 100% say it was deliberate. Alright, it's decided again. Let's get back in line, and this time I'm not getting last place again. If I were you, I'd aim for not crashing instead. That much is implied. A few hours later. Oh god. By the time we reached the baseball cage, the sun had already begun to set. The orange light paints the sky above us and covers the streets with a bright, blinding glow. To my amusement, I notice that Jun's fur somehow gets even more bright orange under the direct light of the setting sun. Oh wow, this place is a lot more empty than I thought. Thank God for that. Now can you let go of my arm, please? Right! The streets had gotten much busier by the time we left the karting venue as most people were starting to leave work. Jun had a small freak out in the middle of the crowd like he usually does. At least he's getting kinda better at those. He didn't go incoherent or catatonic or anything. He just gripped my wrist really tight and whispered to me that he wanted to go somewhere quieter. So at least he still made sense, even if his grip was just as crushing. I haven't come here in a while. I guess not many people come by this late. It's not even that late. The place stays open for 3 more hours. Have you been here before? How do you know that? There's a huge sign on the wall right there showing the hours. Jun sheepishly looks at the direction I was pointing, reading the sign. Oh. How do you use these? You go up to the counter and you buy tokens. Each token is good for 10 shots. Then you walk up to an empty cage and place the token inside the machine so it opens the door for you. They're big enough to hold 2 people inside, but the workers really don't like it when you do that, so I wouldn't recommend it. Of course I don't like it. They're that big so you have room to swing, not so you can have a guest. They don't want to get sued when someone gets hit over the head with a baseball bat. Amusingly enough, that happened once. Yeah, and whose fault is that? Not mine. I wasn't the one swinging the bat. I told you to duck. Duck where? With what space? The two begin to bicker, raising their voices at each other and arguing in circles. This is why I'm glad I'm an only child. This is why I wish I were an only child. This is why you don't bring another person with you into the cage. Especially when the one swinging the bat is a huge man-child. I heard that. Uh-oh, sorry. I calmly leave the circus clowns behind and walk up to the front desk. Excuse me, I want to buy 3 tokens. The clerk nods and we run the transaction very quickly. The twins are still bickering amongst themselves while the others watch. I make my way to a cage and quickly slip inside. You have helmets and bats on a small rack on the corner ready for players to choose which one they want to use. After that, you just need to get in position and hit a button for it to start. It is only after the echo of my first bat that I hear someone reacting. Hey, Yuichi-san, no fair! June cries out and runs up to my cage. We're gonna leave off here tonight. It's early, but we're doing chord progressions again. We are never going to stop doing that. And also just like taking a minute to just decompress from this. So yeah, if you want to watch chord progressions, then do that. If you don't, stay safe, have a good night, and I'll see you all tomorrow.